The episode begins with Noor wondering what Gilbert could possibly need from him. He's exhausted and just wants to go home. Gilbert tells him for a mock battle. Noor is surprised. He doesn't think he's had a training partner since he went to those schools. Gilbert may not look like it, but he's quite famous in the royal capital. He wants to see what Noor is truly capable of. Noor sees this opportunity as a godsend for a new adventurer and is all ready to battle. However, Noor doesn't know how much of a challenge he'll be for Gilbert, but he'll take his chance to train with someone more skillful than him. Gilbert lunges forward, but Noor is easily able to dodge it. Noticing Gilbert's polished movements and the way he controls his pace is impressive. He had to have trained like crazy to get himself to this level. But why is he so slow? Noor assumes it's because he's his opponent. Gilbert sees no point in showing even a glimpse of what he can really do. Noor stops the battle, telling Gilbert that he knows he's taking it easy on him, but he doesn't have to hold back that much. Gilbert says, "I see," wondering if he's taking it down a notch because he's a normal human. Gilbert lunges forward once again with a flurry of attacks. Noor notices that he's much faster than before, but more importantly, the moment he evades, Gilbert leaves himself completely open. It's like he's luring him in. Gilbert keeps wondering why his spear won't connect, but Noor is still convinced that Gilbert isn't taking him seriously. This time, Gilbert switches his attack midway, causing Noor to jump in the air, and is able to dodge the next attack. Noor brings up that he can still handle more. He can speed up a bit. Gilbert gives a grim look, causing Noor to wonder if Gilbert is already giving it all he's got. Maybe Noor's gotten stronger after all that solitary training he's done. Gilbert uses his ultimate move, Dragave, but Noor is able to dodge it, telling Gilbert it's his loss, we can stop there. Everyone in the training hall is shocked. How could anyone evade the captain's Dragave? They started creating possible solutions, like Gilbert was using a practice spear with a wide tip, so the wind force sent that guy flying. If it was a battle spear, he would have lost his head, and people with talent like Captain Gilbert are 1 in a million. But Gilbert isn't convinced. He noticed he had a gift from the moment he held a spear. The more he trained, the more polished his technique, and the more strength he gained. But the village chief is asking if he enjoyed himself in his village. Gilbert tells him, yeah right, that was painfully boring. The village chief doesn't think there's anyone around that can be a match for him. According to the rumors, the balance of power between the kingdom and their foreign neighbors is falling apart. Right now, those countries are calling for strong troops, and those troops will gather in search of fortune and fame. Perhaps he should go home and see about that. Gilbert returned to the capital city, and single-mindedly continued hunting demons. When he heard someone formidable had joined the corps, he challenged them to fights, and he thoroughly trounced them. Every fiber of his being is bored. He's surrounded by weaklings. While Gilbert is laying down, his master comes to talk to him, saying he's looking pretty glum for someone who has an honorable alias of Spear Sovereign bestowed upon them. But Gilbert just sees it as another bothersome title. His instructor is surprised. He didn't realize a title equal to his Sword Sovereign ranks was such a burden. Then asks about Enos. Gilbert says she's strong, but in a different way. However, in a mock battle, he'd come out on top. It'd be more interesting if there were more competent people like him. His instructor agrees that would be more interesting. But he's there to protect the royal capital, and he can't win a war by himself, no matter how strong he is. Besides, someday there will appear someone who will surpass him. Gilbert hopes they show up while he's still in his position. If not, he might keel over from boredom. Back in the present, Gilbert wanted to know what kind of person could defeat a Minotaur all by themselves, but Noor makes no sense. He showed not 1 ounce of interest in the most lavish of rewards, and he was so discourteous even in the audience with the king. He thought he was alright. However, it didn't feel like he had the power to kill that monster after all. But even so, He couldn't land a single hit, much faster than the speed of sound, and his most powerful technique. He knew that if he let something like that loose on a person, they'd die. It was the only way he could make him feel his spear in that moment. But for the first time in a head-on battle, he was thoroughly defeated. Moreover, the words Noor said when he left, those being, he's looking forward to meeting up with him again. Gilbert looks at the floor, noticing several cracks, wondering when did that happen. He had no idea how he did it. Regardless, he evaded his technique, and he did it while he was at full strength. Noor is impressed by Gilbert's attack. There he was, thinking he was becoming stronger. But even after using physical enhancement and feather step to avoid it, if Gilbert hadn't held back just enough so that he could get away, he'd be dead by now. He went out of his way to warn him that pride will lead to death. He's grateful he did all that. He still has a lot to learn. The next day, Noor is using his newly acquired sword to clear out mud from a ditch. He's impressed. It even gets the stubborn stuff stuck at the bottom. It's a great sword. Just like Lin's dad said, even if he's a little rough with it, it won't get a scratch. He's glad his ditch clearing job is going well. But thanks to that, he had to stop his soil hauling job for a while. Since he can only take F-rank jobs, if work in the royal capital dries up, there'll be entire days where he has nothing to do. But now he's got this. He may as well use it to try to be useful to people or something. Maybe he could use it as an oar. However, that won't work. He'd have to buy a boat first. And it costs money to rent an oven. But as long as he has space to do it, he could use it as a griddle. But the problem is the firepower. With his abilities, the best he can do is light his fingertip about this much. Even though he trained so much at those schools, he could only acquire skills of the lowest level. Lin arrives, telling Noor good morning. She's sorry for just showing up like this. She asks the guildmaster where he was. Noor is surprised. He didn't tell the guildmaster his exact location though. Now that he thinks about it, Lin can find out where other people are using her skills. Noor asks why she's here to see him. She tells him she has a special request to ask of him today. She wants him to accept her as a page. A page is someone who takes care of his everyday necessities as they learn techniques and absorb knowledge from him. If she had to say, it's somewhat close to an assistant or having an apprentice. Just allowing her to be around him is enough. So if you could please let her, but Noor shoots her down. Lin continues to desperately try and get Noor to accept her. She's sure she can be of use to him. She may not look like it, but she's achieved the highest marks ever in all 6 training schools. Noor tells her that's not the problem. There's nothing at all that he can teach her. Lin keeps rattling off potential benefits of accepting her as a page, but to no avail. He just doesn't have a need for her. Lin begins to tear up and makes one final attempt. She uses Icicle Dance, then Hellfire. This is one of the highest skills of magic that she can use. And Mist Blade. This is a secret of the Thief class. The Sovereign of Shadows, Instructor Karu, was kind enough to impart his knowledge upon her. Also, she uses Divine Slash. What she just showed him is a sacred class skill of a swordsman. It's a highly specialized technique, especially effective against the undead. And also, Noor stops her, saying that's enough. It's still no. After seeing everything, he understands her talents well. He almost feels pitiful compared to her, realizing maybe it's best to just show her the reality. Noor uses Tiny Flame. Lin is back in town, recalling the story of a young boy with no talent. The instructors at the royal capital's training schools would tell stories of this young boy. However, everyone assumed they were fairy tales, created to teach lessons, because the idea of that young boy was preposterous. As a 12-year-old, he attended all 6 training courses known for their rigorous nature at the royal schools, and completed the full term for each. That sort of person cannot possibly exist. Everyone knows that. The brawniest warrior would give up after 3 days in that 3-month-long course, let alone a child. She thought the same thing until she met that person. Instructor Oaken once showed her something. He tells her to have a look as he makes his flame bigger. Depending on the training, even the base level skill Tiny Flame can grow large. It has absolutely no practical use, and for him who has lived more than 200 years and has some free time on his hands, it's just a bit of fun. Lynn tried countless times to do it herself, but she couldn't make the flame even slightly larger. It's not something that could be done in a day, but it requires devotion to your studies for a very long time, and that's precisely why she was stunned speechless. It was many times bigger than what the world's greatest sorcerer, Oaken, had done. A tiny flame that far outclassed the others. Noor tells her that the other 5 class skills are just like this one. Does she understand what that means? Lynn understands it that all 6 of his class skills are extraordinary. What she showed to that monumentally powerful person was just showing off some high-level skills that she only memorized. Noor repelled those attacks from that Minotaur's axe, with only a single broadsword in his hands numerous times. He didn't brag about his power, and quietly went on working for other people. If she could put it into one word, she'd say he's strong. Not only in body, but in mind as well. He has the fortitude to live life on his own, so he will never yield to anyone. In the future, Lynn will be in the position to lead the kingdom alongside her brother. The motto of the Clay's royal family is, "Those of royal blood must be strong." And that's why more than anything, she must learn to achieve strength like that. Lynn meets up with Noor, saying she's figured it out. Her own pride, as well as her immaturity. Until the day comes when he will accept her as his page, she'll follow behind him wherever he may go. Because the answer that she's in pursuit of, no, the supreme strength that generations upon generations of the Clay's royal family have sought, reside within Noor. Then the episode ends.